Hello everyone, my name is Joseph and welcome back to the Popsicle Night channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Please take a second to click the like button if you like this video or hit the thumbs down if you don't. Also, if you enjoy the contents of this channel, please subscribe if you haven't already. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at Electivire and Magmortar combo from the Brilliant Stars set. These two Pokemon are specially made to work alongside each other. Some of their attacks become stronger when the other Pokemon is in play and certain conditions are met. First, let's take a look at Electivire. Electivire is a Stage 1 Pokemon with 140 HP, 3 retreat cost, no resistance, and is weak to fighting. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Explosive Bolt. For just 1 lightning energy, it deals 30 plus damage, and if any of your bench Magmortar have any damage counters on them, this attack does 120 damage instead. This first attack is the one that works in tandem with Magmortar. You do need to have a Stage 1 Magmortar on your bench, but not only that, you also need to have damage counter on Magmortar for Explosive Bolt to deal extra damage. In this build, we have 2 ways of doing that. First, we can utilize the new Magma Basin Stadium. As long as you have fire energy in the discard pile, you can accelerate 1 fire energy to one of your benched fire Pokemon, after which you deal 2 damage counters on it as the effect of the stadium. I've also added 1 copy of Old Cemetery Stadium. If either player attaches an energy from their hand to one of their non-purple type Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So with this, we can get that damage to Magmortar by attaching energy from our hand onto it. 120 damage may not seem like much, but it should be enough damage to set up for Magmortar to deal a finishing blow even to a VMAX Pokemon. Electivire's second attack is High Voltage Current. For 2 lightning and 1 colorless energy, this attack does 50 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. You could use the telescopic sight to increase its damage against your opponent's Pokemon V or GX on their bench, but I went without it in this build for the sake of consistency. But the 50 damage across your opponent's board can make a big difference. I also added Flaffy in this build. It has the Dynamotor ability, which can help you accelerate 1 lightning energy from the discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon, and this is a great energy accelerator for either Electivire or Magmortar. Moving on now to Magmortar. Magmortar is also a Stage 1 Pokemon with 140 HP, 3 retreat cost, no resistance, and is weak to water. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Mega Punch. For 2 colorless energy, it deals 50 damage. And its second attack is Bolt Explosion. For 2 fire and 1 colorless energy, it deals 120 plus damage. However, if Electivire is on your bench, this attack will deal 240 damage instead. With the help of Choice Belt, we can increase our attack damage output against V Pokemon by 30. The number just adds up perfectly between Electivire and Magmortar. If Electivire hits for 120 damage, and then Magmortar for 240 damage, you can 2-hit knock out any VMAX in the game. And if Electivire deals 50 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon, and then Magmortar hits for 270 damage with the help of the Choice Belt, you're still dealing a total of 320 damage. Since we need both Electivire and Magmortar in play at all times, I added a 2-2 line of Zoroark in this build. It has the Phantom Transformation ability, which allows you to switch this Pokemon with one of your Stage 1 Pokemon in the discard pile. This is really good because even if your opponent snipes either Electivire or Magmortar, Zoroark can just transform into the one you need in play. And just as a side note, when I play Zoroark, I usually have 2 ordinary rods so that I can recover an extra Zoroark line back to the deck. As for consistency, I have Snorlax with Gourmandize ability, and I also have Manaphy to protect our bench thanks to its Wave Veil ability. As for my Spore cards, I have 1 Boss's Orders, 2 Marnie, 3 Professor's Research, 2 copies of Raihan. This one can help accelerate energy, especially there are attacks from Electivire and Magmortar that requires 3 energies. And I had 1 copy of Skyla just so I can retrieve one of our stadiums from the deck when needed, or any other trainer cards that we need. And lastly, I have 6 fire energies and 6 lightning energies in this build. This combo between Electivire and Magmortar has a lot going for it. It is a bit complicated just to make it work. I feel like there's just too many requirements that you need just to increase your attack. I mean, it can work, but compared to other single prizer builds, I think this one is just too complicated to operate, and most of the other attacks are pretty expensive to pay off. But other than that, trying out this unique mechanic sure was a fun challenge. And that's pretty much it. You can find the complete decklist in the description below. And now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing the Electivire and Magmortar combo. But first, let's hear it from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by PTCGO the best place for you to get PTCGO code cards. Are you looking to complete your Pokemon card collection online for the latest set? PTCGO has everything you need. Please use my code NIGHT22 at checkout so you can get a 5% discount. Help yourself out with a discount, and thank you for helping support the content I create in this channel and for helping out PTCGO. Alright, so I'm going to go first. I do like going first with this build. Ideally, what you want to do is start or set up your basic Electabuzz and Magmar. On your second turn, your goal is to set up your stage 1 Magmortar and Electivire so that they can boost each other's attack. But starting off with the Snorlax, we can Gourmandize this turn, which is nice. We have access to Quick Ball, and I think I'll set up my Magmar for the meantime. Attach the Choice Belt, also play the Magma Basin, I think, so that I can draw 4 cards with Gourmandize. And we did draw into 2 energies, which is good. And we are going up against Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. So they're hitting for weakness against our Magmortar, so that's not good. And they're also not weak against Lightning. So my opponent has an advantage over our build for sure. But it is doable. We can 2-hit knockout Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. We just have to set up our Electivire. But they're gonna boss my Magmar, and they're hitting for 80 damage. My Magmar actually survives with 10 HP. That's crazy. We got a level bar from our tap deck, so I think I'll start setting up my Electivire line. And I should get another Magmar because they're gonna knock out my active, but I think I'll just get Zorua for the meantime. I can energize my Electabuzz, and I'll just evolve into a Magmortar. And then I'll have to use Professor's Research. I have no choice. I have to set up. And we actually got a Quick Ball. I could get my Magmar this turn then. Let me just get rid of the Lightning Energy. That will set up for Flappy later on. And then I'll use the Magma Basin. That will add 2 damage counter to our Magmar. And that can set up for an Electivire increased attack on our next turn. We just have to evolve it into Magmortar. Unfortunately for Electivire and Magmortar, they actually have an exceptionally high retreat cost, which is not good. And that's why I couldn't retreat my active. And my decision was to just evolve it. And then hopefully I can get a Zoroark. And I can just evolve into a Magmortar whenever I need to. So I'll just promote my Snorlax for the meantime. And with the Evolution Incense, I'll get my Electivire. I can evolve. And then attach a Fire Energy. Use Professor's Research. And we did get a Zoroark, which is good. We also have Ordinary Rod. We can recover our other Pokemon if we need to. Eventually we'll have to do that, especially for the Zoroark line. And then I'll just set up another Electabuzz and just Gourmandize this turn. We did get a Magmortar off of that, which is good. Hopefully they don't have a boss's order, because if they boss my Magmortar, that's not gonna be good. Although we could just transform into another Magmortar and then use Magma Basin. We can hit for 120 damage, but it's gonna take a few more turns before we can fully energize a Magmortar and get 3 energies attached to our Magmortar on our next few turns to knock out an Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX if they do end up evolving. So they also have Suicune V. Then they're gonna Marnie. So that's gonna get rid of our Magmortar. That's not good. Okay, we get another Electivire, so that's good. And they do evolve into Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. So the plan here is we need a Magmortar to evolve first so that we can hit for 120 damage. And that's the whole challenge, really, is keeping both Electivire and Magmortar in play at all times is just a next level shenanigan, you know what I mean? And that's why I think this one is not as good as other single prize builds. We did get a Raihan from the top deck, which is insane. That actually helps us out. I can get a Magmortar off of this Raihan. I can energize my active for the meantime. And then I'll get a Magmortar. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. We'll have to set up our Flaffy line at some point. I think that will help out. So we'll just evolve into Magmortar for the meantime. I have Fire Energy on hand. I can attach it to Magmortar, but they could just knock it out. We might need it later. Because if they do knock it out, we won't have energy for Zoroark when it transforms. And hitting for 50 damage across the board is not going to be too useful. So I think I'll just hit for 120 damage and preserve that energy on hand, which we might need in the next few turns. So at least now we are able to deal 120 damage, initial damage to this Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. And hopefully they don't boss our Magmortar, which they won't be able to because they're going to use Melanie. So as long as they don't retreat this Ice Rider Calyrex, we should be able to knock it out with Magmortar. So they're going to get another prize for that. So 3 for 3 I think is fair. They'll knock out my Electivire. And then we can knock it out with Magmortar. So Electivire deals 120 damage for just 1 energy, but it does require that you have Magmortar on the bench and also a damage counter on Magmortar. So that's a lot to ask for, I think, in my opinion. And Magmortar is a little bit simpler. You just need an Electivire on the bench, but it does require 3 energies, which will actually allow us to knock out this Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX, getting us our first 3 prize. We get another Magma Basin, which is good. Okay, so now they have Suicune V in the active. And actually, Suicune V, we should be able to knock it out. It is weak against lightning, this one. So even if they do end up knocking out my Magmortar, that's going to discard the fire energies. And since we have Magma Basin available, we can actually use that to get rid of their Path to the Peak. And once we transform our Zoroark into Magmortar, we can accelerate an energy, dealing 2 damage counter. And that will set up for an increased damage for our Electivire for a single energy. 120 damage, that's going to be 240 damage, hitting for weakness. And with a choice belt, that's going to be more than 240 damage. So let's transform into Magmortar first. Use Magma Basin. And we can evolve into... Oh wait, we don't have a Zoroark, I forgot. So let's just use Magma Basin. Explosion Bolt for 300 damage because we're hitting 150 base damage, but double that. 300 damage against their Suicune V. So, you know, this is not too bad because we are getting multiple prizes for each knockout. This actually worked out for us. Although my opponent has the advantage, they are only getting 1 prize at a time though. So with that, we can actually, if we can just switch our Electivire, we can accelerate 1 more energy with Magma Basin and manually attach 1 energy to our Magmortar. We should be dealing 240 damage against any of their Pokemon they put in the active. So all we have to do is just retreat our Electivire. We should be home free. Unless they don't retreat their Inteleon, then we're also hitting for weakness. We could just knock out this Inteleon with our Electivire. But most likely my opponent's just going to retreat it. We just have to figure out how to retreat our Electivire. And we should be able to hit for a lot of damage with our Magmortar. So another Ice Rider Calyrex V in the active to deal 40 damage. We get a Marnie. I'll just attach an energy and then use Magma Basin for the meantime. And we can't use Scoop Up Net because that's gonna get rid of Electivire. And we get a switch. This is insane. Insane, guys. Insane. We're gonna take this win with Bolt Plosion against this Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX build. Going on to our next match, we're gonna start this game again with Snorlax, which is crazy, and again Magmar on the bench. Okay. another water type build. We get an Electabuzz, and then speed energy so that we can draw into 2 more cards. Gourmandize, and we got a choice belt. That's good. So we can set up 2 Electabuzz on our next turn. We can use a choice belt, and we are actually hitting for weakness since we are lightning type against this water type build. And then we can use Professor's Research to draw into more cards. Okay, it's an Inteleon V VMAX build, I guess. And that's good. This is a good matchup for us because we're hitting for weakness, especially with Electivire. So Electivire actually is easier to set up in that you only need 1 energy. There are a few requirements. You need Magmortar on the bench and also damage counter on Magmortar, but you can at least attack for just 1 energy with Electivire. We get an Electivire from our top deck, speaking of. But we need to evolve our Magmortar, deal damage counter on it so that we can attack for 120 damage with our Electivire. Unfortunately, we don't know if we're going to be able to do that. So I'll be taking a chance if I put this Electivire in the active and then we don't get it. I could use Professor's Research for the meantime, I guess, but I think I'll go for it. I'll just put Electivire in the active, and I'll use Professor's Research. Okay, cool. We got a Magma Basin, but no Magmortar. Let me just set up my Magmortar. We can hit for a lot of damage in our next few turns. I'll get a Manaphy because we are up against Inteleon, and Inteleon actually hits our bench. So just to protect that, Manaphy is a great addition to this build for sure. Let me just put Fire Energy on my Electivire and hit for 120 damage because we have 30 base damage with Explosive Bolt attack, and then with the Choice Belt that's adding 30 additional damage, double that, 120 damage against this Inteleon VMAX now because we are hitting for weakness. But at least they don't have enough energy on their Inteleon VMAX, so they can't really knock out our Electivire just yet. Even if they attack and put 1 of our energies back to our hand, that's fine. That's just gonna give way for us to energize our Magmortar line. Although, if they get a boss or something like that, then they just boss our Magmar. That's not good. And we'll eventually need like Magmortar or Electivire in the discard pile so that Zoroark can evolve into it. But even if they knock out 1 of our Pokemon, we can actually use Bruno, so we can draw into more cards. But let's see what my opponent does here first. Most likely they're just going to attack for 60 damage and return 1 of our energies back to our hand. And that's exactly what they do. Deal 60 damage to our Electivire. And they actually put the Fire Energy back. I'll just attach that to Magmar. And then I'll use Bruno, draw into 4 cards. We get nothing else, so I'll just use Explosive Bolt to deal another 120 damage against this Inteleon VMAX. You're probably noticing a lot of difference in this build. I am experimenting a little bit. I did add Speed Energy so that I have that extra draw power, but I don't think it's a good idea because once it gets to the discard pile, I won't be able to recover it as much, especially once I have Flaffy. And I also have Kindler, and Kindler, you can search the top 7 cards of your deck, but that is if you can discard a Fire Energy on hand. And I don't think it's as useful because we won't always have Fire Energy on hand because we have a mixture of Lightning and Fire Energies. They did knock out my Electivire, but we can just promote my Zoroark. We can just transform into Electivire once again, and again, we can just hit for weakness against this Inteleon VMAX. I'll use my professor's research. Hopefully we can get a Magmortar, which we don't. Let me just grab another Zorua then, and then just put another energy on my Magmar. But regardless, we are hitting for weakness, but I don't think it's gonna deal enough damage this turn. Unfortunately, we're only dealing 60 damage. So we're gonna have to sacrifice another Electivire here, because they should be able to attach one more energy to their Inteleon VMAX, and then they can knock out my Electivire. But at least we have Zoroark on hand. We can just transform, or we can just evolve our Zorua, transform into another Electivire, but we won't have a lightning energy, so that's not good. And they're gonna Marnie. I was gonna say I could just promote my Snorlax or maybe my Manaphy, and then just scoop them up after I charge an Electivire with my Flaffy. But we finally have a Magmortar though, so that's good. But they're gonna knock out my Electivire, and that's not good. That's not good. So I'll just promote my Snorlax, evolve into Magmortar, use Marnie. Hopefully we can get some of the cards back that we had before. What I'm looking for here is an Electivire now. And again, this is the challenge really. If your opponent can manipulate the cards that you're able to put in play, I think that's the hardest part with this combo. It can be hard sometimes to keep your Electivire and Magmortar both in play at the same time, especially if your opponent knows exactly what you're up to. But at least we drew into Evolution Incense. We can use that to get a Zoroark, and then we can transform into Electivire, and that's what's good with Magmortar. Although it requires 3 energies to attack, just having Electivire on the bench is simple enough to deal that 240 damage. So really, Magmortar's increased attack is a lot easier to set up than Electivire if you think about it. Okay, so my opponent's gonna retreat, and they're gonna charge their Inteleon VMAX. They're gonna use their Inteleon V to knock out my Snorlax. We just promote my Magmar for the meantime. Let's see. Get a Zoroark. And then I'll use Phantom Transformation into Electivire, and actually that's gonna allow us to have 2 Magmortars. So we have 2 attackers that can deal 240 damage, although we need 1 fire energy. Have Snorlax. It's a good way to thin out my deck. We have 1 lightning energy that we can put onto our Electivire. And then I think I'll just hard retreat, just to keep it safe. And then I'll use right hand to accelerate energy on my active, get another lightning energy, evolve into Magmortar, put fire energy on Magmortar, and then, you know what? I can actually attack with high voltage current. That way I can knock out their Inteleon in the bench. That will get us 3 prizes, and then we're also dealing 100 damage against this Inteleon V in the active, hitting for weakness. And even if they evolve into Inteleon VMAX, we already have that initial 100 damage on it. And after Magmortar deals 240 damage, and we have one with Choice Belt as well, we can deal 270 damage. Even if they put Big Charm, we can actually knock it out easily, and they're gonna deal 160 damage to our Electivire. And okay, alright, this is gonna be we need an Electivire. That's gonna be a problem now. I can thin out my... I mean, we have 8 cards left in the deck. Okay, we have Electivires. We just need to draw into it. We discard this. Put that there. At least we can draw 5 cards. And once we put these in the bottom of the deck, that will increase our chances of getting an Electivire here. There it is. We got both of them. Crazy. Alright, cool. And that's gonna do it for us. Just gonna evolve into Electivire. Bolt Flotion for 270 damage. Knocking out this Inteleon VMAX. Good game. Alright, let's get into another game. You know, having the speed energy is interesting, but it's hard to recover it. So I just went with all basic energies in this build. And I'm just going aggressively just by maintaining my professor's research, and I'm gonna go without the Bruno. So yeah, I just went for the original design. I think it's a little bit more consistent. So I'm just gonna attach an energy on Manaphy. That will allow us to discard it later on. And we have Magmar on the bench. We can use Magma Basin on our next few turns to deal damage counter, and once we set up an Electivire, we can increase that damage. But we're going up against a grass type build, which is a little bit in our favor as long as we can set up our Magmortar. And they're gonna start their build with a Shaman V in the active, and actually Shaman V deals a lot of damage late game, especially. It depends its attack power on how much prizes their opponent has already taken. I will discard 1 fire energy, and I can retreat into Snorlax. We can Gormandize, and then I can set up my Magma Basin, deal 2 damage counter, and attach a lightning energy, Gormandize. And we have Electivire. We don't have an Electivire on the discard pile. They are going to evolve into Shaman V-Star. If we can just discard this Electivire, we can evolve into Zoroark. And then as long as Electivire is in the bench, we can attack for a lot of damage with our Magmortar. But they're going to attack my Snorlax, but not enough damage. It survives by 10 HP. So that's crazy. I'm going to get a Zoroark for the meantime. And I think I'll just have to play Marnie this turn. I mean, I can use their Stadium to get a Fire Energy, attach it to Magmortar, and then I'll just Marnie. Okay, we have a Quick Ball. If we had retained that Electivire, we could have just transformed into Electivire, but that's okay. I'll just get a Electabuzz with a Quick Ball, thin out my hand as much as possible, and I'm just going to Gormandize. And we did get an Electivire, that's good. We can evolve on our next turn. Unless they boss my Magmortar, we should be able to knock out this Shaman V on our next turn, because most probably they're just going to knock out my Snorlax. They're going to get 1 prize for that, but we can knock out their Shaman V Star, get 2 prizes for that. But they're also they also have Grotle, and man, that's so aggressive with that ability. You just get any grass Pokemon from their deck. So they're using Torterra, which hits for a lot of damage. And this could be hard for us, although, you know what, they have to worry about evolving into the stage 2. And they have to energize their Torterra as well. So I'm just going to promote my Magmortar. We are hitting for 240 damage. Actually more, because we're hitting for weakness. And we also have Choice Belt. And we're gonna deal so much damage against the Shaman V-Star. So crazy. Bolt Flosion for 540 damage. That's insane. But they do have EXP shares, so those energies are gonna go back to one of their Pokemon. And that's not... that's looking scary, because once they evolve into Torterra, they can just knock out any Pokemon that comes across its path, because I mean, as long as they can keep up the evolution line in play, they can hit for a lot of damage with Torterra. Okay, they're gonna evolve into Eldegoss for the meantime, and it's the one with Blessing of Fluff. So their main strategy here is to use this Eldegoss to energize their Pokemon. So we have Old Cemetery in play for the meantime. We can always just use Magma Basin. I don't know if they're going to be able to attack this turn. They'll have to retreat. Nope, they're just going to use Blessing of Fluff. Okay. And they're energizing their Rillaboom V. I think we'll have to get another Magmortar line pretty soon, though. I mean, I could use Professor's Research, but I'd hate to discard all of this Ordinary Rod. I mean, we have Zoroark to transform into Magmortar on our next turn. So I'll just use Professor's Research. Why not? Get that Mareep in play. We can recover some light energies that way. And then I could get rid of this. Get a Snorlax. That might come in handy. And then I'll just transform into another Magmortar. And I'll use the Magma Basin for the meantime. And then I'll use Mega Punch to deal 100 damage on this Eldegoss, getting us another prize. So I just want to set up for Electivire at least. We might be able to attack for... I mean, 120 damage. Really not going to knock out Torterra because it has 190 HP. But if I can stall, if I can use my Boss's Order, get one of the Torterra in the active, and then just trap it, and then I can use Electivire's second attack and just spread damage. Deal 50 damage to all of their Pokemon. I could do that. That could be my plan. But we need 3 more prizes. I'll just put my Electivire in the active for now. We do have a switch. I'll just accelerate another energy on Magmortar. And then let me see if I can get a I can get a Flaffy. Okay. I can put 1 energy on my Magmortar as well. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. Put an energy on Magmortar. And then 120 damage, right? I'd really like to save the boss. I'll just switch into Snorlax, Gormandize. I'm gonna stall. What I'm gonna do is wait for them. Hopefully they evolve into like Rillaboom VMAX. That'd be cool. But yeah, what I'm trying to do is actually with another energy. That's gonna be my plan. Either boss one of their Torterra in the active, and while they cannot escape, we can just hit for 50 damage on their bench, and then that can set up even their VMAX. But you know what? They evolved, so we'll just finish it off by knocking out this Rillaboom VMAX, getting us our last 3 prizes. So at least we had a few win conditions in this matchup, and I can see how versatile this Magmortar and Electivire combo can be. So you know, I'm 50-50 with it. It's good and bad at the same time, but it's a fun deck. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicle Night channel, and as always, stay safe and have a great day.